Ma'am, FBI, I need your vehicle.
My car? Why?
Active operation. We're short on time.
I don't understand. I need to see...
You don't need details.
I need your badge,
Ma'am,
and I need
I'm
to know
not
where...
asking.
Then I'm calling my attorney.
Don't.
Why not?
Because we don't have time for this. Madison, step out of the vehicle.
How do you know my name?
Madison Clark wasn't the kind of person who sat in parking lots for no reason. That afternoon, she was parked along Worth Avenue in Palm Beach, Florida, letting a call finish before she stepped out. The car drew attention even when it was still. A pearl-white Rolls-Royce Cullinan with bespoke trim, a custom plate frame from a private concierge dealer, and tinted glass that made strangers second-guess what they thought they saw. Madison was 29, sharp-featured, calm-eyed, the kind of woman who looked like she belonged in every room she entered. Her hair was dark and pinned back. Her outfit was understated, expensive, and precise. She ended the call, checked her calendar, and reached toward the center console when a dark SUV rolled up behind her so smoothly it looked rehearsed. Two men stepped out. They didn't run, they didn't hurry. They walked like the sidewalk belonged to them. Both wore dark tactical pants and fitted jackets with large FBI lettering across the chest. Not the crisp, uniformed look of agents on TV, more like an operational unit that didn't need to explain itself. One was tall and broad with close-cropped hair, early 40s, a squared jaw. The other was leaner, late 30s, with a narrow face and a hard stare that never softened. They approached her driver's side window. Madison cracked it a few inches. "Ma'am," the taller one said, voice controlled and authoritative. "Federal Bureau of Investigation, we need your vehicle for an active operation." Madison blinked once, trying to process the words as if they might reassemble into something reasonable. "My vehicle," she repeated. "Yes," the lean man cut in. "Now." Madison's eyes moved to their jackets, then to their belts. She didn't see a holster clearly, but she saw enough to feel the pressure. The taller one held his hands visible, palms slightly open, practiced non-threat posture. "I'm going to need to see credentials," Madison said. The taller man flashed something quickly, too quickly. A rectangle, a badge, a photo. It was gone before her brain could lock onto it. "That wasn't long enough," she said. Her tone stayed polite, but she felt her heart change rhythm. "Ma'am, this is not negotiable," the tall agent said. "You can cooperate or you can make this complicated." Madison forced herself to breathe. "I'm happy to cooperate," she said, "but I need to know the legal basis, and I need a receipt. Where do I pick it up?" "Which field office?" The lean man's jaw tightened. His eyes flicked to the street, then back to her like time was bleeding out. "You'll be contacted," he said. "Step out of the vehicle." Madison didn't move. "I'm calling my attorney," she said, reaching slowly toward her phone. The taller man's voice sharpened by 1 degree, enough to change the air. "Don't," he said. "Hands where I can see them." Madison froze. In that moment, she realized something. If they were real, they were being reckless. If they weren't real, she was alone. She tried one more time, steady and clear. "Name and badge number," she said. "At least tell me that." The lean man leaned closer to the crack in the window. "You have 10 seconds, he said, "or we'll take it anyway." Madison stared at him, shocked not at the threat, but at how easily he said it. Like this wasn't their first time. Then the tall one softened his voice, too late and too staged. "Madison, right?" he said, reading her name from something he shouldn't have been able to see. "We don't want this to be a scene. Just step out." Her stomach turned cold. He hadn't looked at her license. He already knew. Madison unlocked the door, not because she trusted them, because she didn't know what else to do without escalating right there on a public street. She stepped out carefully, keeping her phone visible in her hand. The taller man opened the driver door and slid into her seat like he belonged there. The lean man took the phone from her hand before she could react. "Federal matter," he said flatly, and pocketed it. Madison's mouth opened, but no words came out fast enough. The SUV door slammed behind them, and her Cullinan, $500,000 of metal, leather, and silence, pulled away from the curb. Madison stood on the sidewalk in Palm Beach, watching her own car drive off without her. The street kept moving around her like nothing had happened. And the question that hit her wasn't why me, it was simpler. How did they know her name? Madison walked into the Palm Beach Police Department on foot. She asked to file a report for a vehicle taken under alleged federal authority. The desk officer, a tired man with a neutral face, typed slowly and asked the same questions twice, standard procedure, but it felt like disbelief. "Do you have any paperwork?" he asked. "No," she said. "They refused. Did you get names, badge numbers?" "They wouldn't give them." The officer exhaled through his nose, glanced at a supervisor, and lowered his voice. "Ma'am, you're saying 2 FBI agents commandeered your Rolls-Royce on Worth Avenue?" "Yes." He tried to keep his tone clean, but the skepticism was obvious. A second officer came over, Sergeant Stripes, older, more careful. He didn't laugh. He just listened like he'd seen too much to assume anything was impossible. Let's start with the basics, the sergeant said. Timeline. Exact location, direction they left. Madison gave him everything, time, street, their SUV, the way they moved, the way the taller one said her name. She also described the badge flash, too fast to verify, and the fact her phone was taken. The sergeant nodded once at the phone detail. That's not typical, he said. Within 20 minutes, a detective arrived, Detective Alina Ruiz. Ruiz didn't waste time on reactions. She spoke like she was building a case file in her head. Ruiz asked for the vehicle's VIN, tracking features, insurance, and whether Madison had any enemies she could name. Madison hated that question. It made the situation sound personal, like she'd invited it. Then came the first real friction, the FBI. Ruiz told Madison they had to verify whether a federal seizure occurred. She called the local FBI field office and asked for confirmation, just confirmation, nothing sensitive. The initial response was clean and cold. No record of any operation requiring civilian vehicle commandeering in Palm Beach. But the FBI duty agent also said something else carefully. Sometimes operations aren't logged in a way we can share, the voice on the phone said, but the phone being taken, that's not something we do. Ruiz hung up and stared at her notepad. That's their way of saying they don't want to touch it yet, she said quietly. The Palm Beach PD treated it as grand theft auto with impersonation until they had confirmation otherwise. Ruiz requested nearby city camera footage and asked Madison for any surveillance from stores along Worth Avenue. Madison's dealership concierge contacted Rolls-Royce's security service. They confirmed the vehicle had a telematics system, but tracking required a legal process and cooperation from multiple vendors. Translation, not instant. Madison called her insurance provider and got a case number within the hour. The rep was polite, but the questions were precise. Where, when, what was said, did she voluntarily hand over keys? Madison could hear the subtext. If she consented, coverage could get complicated. In the evening, Ruiz called her back. We pulled traffic cameras, Ruiz said. We have the Cullinan leaving the area. We also have the SUV. Plates are either stolen or fake. Madison sat on her couch, still dressed like she was going to dinner. So they planned it, she said. Ruiz didn't answer directly. Instead, she said, one more thing, your name. The tall one said it. Yes, Ruiz paused. That means this wasn't random, she said. Which means this is either a targeted theft or it's connected to something else. Madison felt the room shrink. Ruiz continued, I need you to think of who knew your schedule, who knew you'd be there. Valet, security, a friend. A post on social media. Madison didn't like where this was going. I don't post my location, she said. Ruiz's voice stayed professional but firm. Then someone else did, she said. Or someone watched. That night, Madison slept with the lights on, and sometime after midnight, Detective Ruiz sent a short message. FBI called back, they want in. Something about your phone. The next morning, Madison sat in a conference room at the Palm Beach PD with Detective Ruiz and two men who introduced themselves as federal agents, real ones this time. Special Agent Thomas Keene was older, his suit plain, his posture careful. His partner, Special Agent Reena Patel, was younger, analytical, and said less. They didn't apologize for the earlier dismissiveness. They didn't need to. Their presence was the apology. Keene opened a thin folder. Miss Clark, he said, your phone being taken changes the profile. Madison's throat tightened. It was just opportunistic, she said. They grabbed it. Patel finally spoke. Not opportunistic, she said. Procedural, they wanted to control what you could do immediately. Ruiz slid a printed still image across the table, the SUV captured at an intersection. Grainy, but enough to see shape and stance. Keene tapped the image. This vehicle matches a pattern we've seen in South Florida, he said. Impersonation crews, high-value property, fast turnover. Madison leaned forward. So you've seen this before, she said. Keene met her eyes. Yes, he said, but not usually at this price point, and not usually this bold. Ruiz pulled up another screen, footage from a storefront camera. It showed Madison's Cullinan idling, then the two agents approaching. Their faces were partially visible, just enough to put them in a database maybe. Patel watched the clip twice, then paused it. Stop, she said. Everyone leaned in. On the taller impersonator's left wrist was a watch with an unusual band, bright metal links distinctive. Not expensive, but recognizable. Patel glanced at Keene. That's specific, she said. Keene didn't respond right away. He looked at Ruiz. Can you give us a moment? He asked. Ruiz hesitated, then stood and stepped out. Madison stayed seated. Keene lowered his voice. Miss Clark, he said, we have to ask a sensitive question. Madison's pulse climbed. Ask it, she said. Patel slid another sheet across the table, an internal bulletin-style page sanitized for a civilian with a warning header. The phrase that stuck out was simple. Target selection indicates prior knowledge of victim identity. Keene said, what do you do for work? Madison stared at him. I run an investment firm, she said. Private wealth? Patel didn't blink. Do you have clients connected to law enforcement? She asked. Federal, local, contractors? Madison swallowed. We have clients in a lot of sectors, she said carefully. Keene nodded as if confirming a suspicion. This crew may have believed you wouldn't call police, he said, or that you'd delay or that you'd be embarrassed. Madison's voice sharpened. I called immediately. Keene's expression didn't change. And that may be why we're catching them, he said. Then Patel pointed to the phone detail again. Your phone, she said. Do you use two-factor authentication, banking apps, work email? Yes, Madison said immediately. All of it? Patel's gaze held hers. Then this isn't only about the vehicle, she said. They didn't just take transportation, they took access. Madison felt sick. Keene leaned forward. We need you to list every account tied to that device, he said. Email, cloud storage, financial apps, everything. Madison started, hands shaking. Bank, brokerage, encrypted messaging, her assistant's contact, her building's access app. Patel wrote quickly, then Keene's phone buzzed. He read the screen and his face tightened in a way Madison hadn't seen yet. He looked at Patel, then at Madison. We have a hit, he said. Madison's mouth went dry. A hit on what? She asked. Keene answered carefully, like each word had to pass through legal filters before it could land. Your Cullinan passed a license plate reader in Broward County, he said, heading west. Ruiz walked back into the room, catching the last words. Where? She asked. Keene stood. Toward an industrial corridor, he said. And if our assumption is right, they're taking it to a chop facility, Patel cut in. Not chop, she said. Not with that interior, that car is a product. They'll export it or retitle it. Ruiz's voice turned hard. Then we move now, she said. Madison stood too, adrenaline pushing through fear. I'm coming, she said. Keene shook his head immediately. No, he said. You're not, Madison stared at him. That's my car, she said. Keene's tone stayed calm but final. And that's why you're not coming, he said. They picked you for a reason. If they see you, they adapt. If they adapt, we lose them. Madison looked between them, feeling powerless in a room full of authority. Ruiz grabbed her coat. We'll keep you updated, Ruiz said. As they moved to leave, Patel stopped at the door and looked back at Madison. One more thing, she said. Do you have any reason anyone would want to punish you? Madison shook her head. Patel didn't look convinced. Because the truth in their eyes was clear, this case wasn't just theft anymore. It was leverage. The first operation moved fast, too fast for Madison to feel included. She got updates in fragments, surveillance in motion, units staged, waiting for confirmation. Ruiz called once to tell her the Cullinan stopped near a warehouse district outside Weston. Then the car disappeared again, either into a structure or into a transport trailer. Madison spent the afternoon changing passwords from a laptop, working through lists Patel had emailed. She froze accounts. She contacted clients. She called her building to change access codes. Every call felt like a small admission that someone had stepped inside her life. At 7:18 p.m., Ruiz finally called. Her voice was clipped. We hit the location, she said. It was empty. Madison sat down slowly. Empty. Ruiz continued, we found tire marks, a few zip ties, and a discarded black jacket with FBI on it. Whoever they are, they're disciplined. They cleaned up. Madison's eyes stung, but she refused to cry. So we lost them, she said. Ruiz didn't answer immediately. Then she said, we got something else. Madison waited. Ruiz's tone shifted into the part of police work civilians rarely hear, the part where every word is evidence. They used your phone, Ruiz said. Not for banking, for contact. Madison's stomach dropped. Who did they contact? She asked. Ruiz hesitated. Your assistant, she said. Madison went cold. My assistant Lena, she whispered. Yes, Ruiz said. They texted from your number. They told her you needed a wire sent, emergency. They included details only someone close would know. Madison's breath came shallow. Did she? Madison started. Ruiz cut in quickly. She didn't send it, Ruiz said. She called you, but your phone was gone. So she called your office line, no answer. Then she called your attorney. Madison shut her eyes. Ruiz said, your attorney called us, that's how we found out. Madison's voice cracked. How much were they asking for? Ruiz paused again. 250,000, she said. And if she had sent it, it would be gone. Madison pressed her fingertips to her forehead, so the phone wasn't an afterthought, it was a tool. Ruiz continued, they also tried to access a cloud drive. We have logs, Patel's team is on it. Madison tried to steady herself. What do we do now? She asked. Ruiz's answer was blunt. Now it's federal, she said. Full task force. That night, Madison got her first formal briefing. Her case had been attached to a broader investigation, organized crew, multiple incidents, and a suspected insider feeding targets. The word insider hit Madison harder than theft, because it meant this wasn't about her taste in cars, it was about someone who knew her. 2 days later, the escalation turned personal. Madison left her condo gym in West Palm Beach and saw a folded note tucked under her windshield wiper on her secondary vehicle. No logo, No signature, just 5 words written in block letters. Stop talking or lose more. Madison stared at it until her vision narrowed. She didn't know who had placed it. She didn't know when. She only knew what it meant. They knew where she lived. She called Ruiz immediately. Ruiz arrived with 2 uniformed officers and photographed the note like it was a murder weapon. She didn't try to comfort Madison. Comfort didn't solve cases. Instead, she said, "This is intimidation." Madison asked the question she'd been avoiding. "Are they going to hurt me?" she said. Ruiz looked at her, eyes steady. "They don't want your blood," she said. "They want your silence, and if we let them control this, they'll do it again to someone else." Madison swallowed. "So what do you need from me?" she asked. Ruiz's answer felt like a cliff edge. "We need you to stay visible," Ruiz said. "We need you predictable. We need them to think you're scared enough to slow down." Madison stared. "You're asking me to bait them," she said. Ruiz didn't deny it. "I'm asking you to help us end it," she said. Madison's hands shook, but she nodded, because at that point it wasn't just her car. It was her identity, her security, her life's perimeter tested and breached. And the people who did it weren't done. The task force built the trap the way institutions always do, quietly, methodically, with paperwork and surveillance and small decisions that stacked into a plan. Madison kept her routine. She posted nothing. She acted normal. She drove borrowed vehicles and let her concierge coordinate replacement transport loudly enough for the right ears to hear. Then the crack came from a place Madison didn't expect. Not a camera, not a license plate reader, a valet log. Agent Patel called Madison directly. "We need to ask about the day of the incident," Patel said. "Who parked your car?" Madison thought. "A valet at a private lot off Worth," she said. "Why?" Patel's voice was calm, but Madison heard the tension underneath. "Because your name and your exact vehicle details showed up in a spreadsheet we pulled from a phone we seized in an unrelated arrest," Patel said. Madison froze. "A spreadsheet?" she repeated. Patel said, "A list, high-end vehicles, owner names, typical parking locations, predictable time windows." Madison's stomach twisted. "How do they get that?" she asked. Patel answered in one word. "Service industry," she said. "Valets, detailers, security. Sometimes they sell info without understanding the consequences." Madison felt something shift inside her, anger sharp and clean. Patel continued, "The name attached to that spreadsheet is an individual linked to a valet contractor. We're pulling payroll records." Madison said quietly, "So someone sold me." Patel didn't correct her. 2 days later, Ruiz and Patel sat with Madison again. Ruiz slid a printed photo onto the table. It was the taller impersonator. Clearer this time, taken from a different incident's camera footage in Miami Beach. Ruiz pointed to the face. "His name is Marcus Voss," Ruiz said. "Not a federal agent. He's been arrested before for fraud. He's also connected to a security consulting company that trains executive protection. He knows how to look official." Madison stared at the image, rage rising. "And the other one?" she asked. Patel set down another photo. "Dylan Crow," she said. "Longer record, impersonation, theft, assault charges that didn't stick." Madison's jaw tightened. "So you know who they are," she said. "Go get them." Ruiz's expression stayed controlled. "We're close," she said, "but here's the complication." She placed one more document down, face up, a business card, plain black, a gold logo, VOSS Strategic Security. Madison frowned. "That's him," she said. "So what?" Patel said. "That company has a client list." Madison waited. Ruiz said, "One of the names on that client list is a person connected to a real federal contractor." Madison's eyes narrowed. "You're saying they have real ties," she said. Ruiz nodded once. "Not FBI," she said, "but close enough to borrow language, uniforms, and confidence." Patel leaned forward. "And that's why this crew is hard to pin," Patel said. "They operate in the gray zone. They know what cops can't do without warrants. They move faster than procedure." Madison exhaled slowly. "What about my car?" she asked. Patel replied, "We believe it's being held, not chopped. Not exported yet." "Why hold it?" Madison asked. Ruiz answered, "Because it's leverage." Then Patel added the most unsettling piece. "Remember the note on your windshield?" she asked. Madison nodded. Patel said, "That paper came from a printer in your building's shared office space. We matched the microdot pattern." Madison's blood ran cold. "You're telling me?" she started. Ruiz finished it. "The intimidation came from inside your building," Ruiz said, "not from a random street crew." Madison felt the room tilt, because it meant the perimeter wasn't breached once, it was compromised. Someone close enough to access her building's printer was coordinating pressure while the thieves moved the asset. Ruiz stood, gathering papers. "We're going to do controlled exposure," she said. "We'll make them think you're about to settle privately, that you're tired, that you want it to go away." Madison's voice turned brittle. "And if they believe it?" she asked. Patel met her eyes. "Then they'll show themselves," she said. Madison sat back. For the first time since Worth Avenue, she understood the real shape of the case, not 2 men in fake jackets. A network, and networks made mistakes when they got greedy. The task force set the clock. Madison's attorney, under FBI guidance, created a controlled narrative. A message sent through channels the crew monitored, quietly implying Madison would resolve things discreetly if her property could be returned clean. No threats. No explicit ransom, just enough to invite contact. It worked faster than anyone expected. At 10:42 p.m., a burner phone called the attorney's office. The caller didn't negotiate like a criminal. He negotiated like a businessman. "You want your vehicle back," the voice said. "That can happen." The attorney, reading from a script, asked, "Where is it?" The voice replied, "Safe, maintained, no damage." "And the terms?" the attorney asked. "$300, the voice said. "Cash, no law enforcement." The attorney pushed, "We need proof you have it." A pause, then, "You'll get proof." They sent a photo within minutes. Madison's Cullinan, interior visible, her custom stitching unmistakable. In the background, a concrete wall and a partial sign that said Bay 4. Patel's team lit up. They zoomed the image, analyzed the lighting fixtures, the paint pattern, the floor texture. They ran Bay 4 through databases of industrial leases and warehouse listings. They matched a detail, an unusual safety poster design, found in publicly posted pictures from a logistics facility in Doral, outside Miami. Ruiz didn't celebrate, she just moved. "Get a warrant," she said. Now, the collision was time versus procedure. To hit the location, they needed a judge. To hold evidence, they needed chain of custody. To keep Madison safe, they needed it done clean. At 2:11 a.m., the warrant was signed. By 4:30 a.m., units staged near the warehouse. Patel listened to live audio from a covert mic placed near an entry point. Ruiz watched infrared drone feed. Keen coordinated with local SWAT. The plan was to catch them with the vehicle in place, property and suspects together, but criminals don't wait for your paperwork. At 5:07 a.m. movement, a box truck reversed toward a bay door. Ruiz swore under her breath. "They're moving it," she said. Keen's voice over comms was sharp. "Hold until we confirm," he said. "We need them inside." Patel watched the drone feed. The bay door lifted. The Cullinan appeared, headlights off, rolling forward. Madison's car being loaded like cargo. Ruiz didn't wait. "Go," she said. The breach was fast, loud. Controlled chaos. Commands shouted, boots on concrete, the hollow echo of a warehouse waking up. Patel's mic picked up voices, one of them familiar. A man yelled, "Police." Then another voice, deeper, snapped, "Move." Ruiz watched the feed as two figures ran. One of them lined, narrow-faced, fit Crow, the other broader, fit Voss. They didn't run toward the street. They ran deeper into the building, toward an interior stairwell. Patel clenched her jaw. "They planned an exit," she said. Keen's voice cut in. "Block the rear," he ordered. "Do not let them hit the adjacent property." Ruiz pushed through the bay with officers behind her. The Cullinan sat half-loaded, the box truck's ramp still down. A third man, not in FBI gear, hands up, trembling, an employee or a low-level handler. "Where are they?" Ruiz demanded. The man stammered, I don't know. Ruiz didn't hit him, she didn't need to. She just looked like the consequences had arrived. Patel's voice came over comms. "Second floor," she said. "Thermal 2 heat signatures moving east corridor." Ruiz sprinted, heart pounding, up industrial stairs that smelled like oil and dust. At the top, a door slammed, then silence. Keen's voice came again, low and urgent. "Ruiz," he said, "we have to assume weapons." Ruiz didn't answer. She stacked with officers at the door, a pause long enough to feel like a decision. Then Ruiz kicked it. The door burst inward. The room was sparse, tables, a laptop, uniforms hanging like costumes. And there, pressed against a far wall, was Marcus Voss, hands visible, breathing hard. His eyes weren't panicked. They were calculating. He looked at Ruiz and said, with calm that didn't belong in that moment, "You're too late," he said. Ruiz's stomach tightened. "Where's Crow?" she snapped. Voss smiled slightly. "Ask your building," he said. And in that instant, the case snapped into a new shape again. One that reached back to Palm Beach, to Madison's printer, to someone close enough to touch her world. Before Ruiz could respond, Patel's voice hit the comms like a siren. "We have a runner, rear lot vehicle moving," Keen shouted orders. Ruiz stared at Voss. He wasn't bluffing. He'd been willing to be caught because someone else was still in play. Dylan Crow didn't get far. The rear lot vehicle was a stolen sedan with swapped plates. License plate readers flagged it within minutes. Miami-Dade units initiated a controlled stop on a highway on-ramp. Crow tried to talk his way out like an authority figure, but authority doesn't work when everyone knows it's fake. He was arrested at 6:02 a.m. Marcus Voss was taken into custody inside the warehouse. The third man, low-level, flipped immediately, offering names, rental records, and burner phone patterns in exchange for consideration. That cooperation mattered, not because it made the story dramatic, but because it made it real. By noon, the task force had the missing link, the inside pressure in Palm Beach. It wasn't Madison's friend. It wasn't her assistant. It was a contractor who worked security coverage in her building, someone with access to common spaces, printers, entry logs, and sightlines. He had been paid to provide schedules, entry patterns, and confirmation that Madison lived alone. He was arrested the next day on conspiracy and extortion-related charges. His payment trail, small transfers disguised memos, was recovered through bank subpoenas. The car, the thing that started it all, was processed as evidence first. That's the part people don't like. They want the dramatic return. But in real cases, property comes back when the paperwork allows it. Forensic teams photographed the interior, pulled prints, swabbed touchpoints, and extracted telematics data. Only after chain of custody was secured did the Cullinan go back. It took 6 weeks. Madison got it returned with a police escort and a case number taped to the windshield like a scar. The interior smelled faintly different, not ruined, but not hers anymore. The sentencing came later. Crow took a plea because the evidence stack was heavy: surveillance footage, license plate reader hits, phone logs, recovered uniforms, and the attempted wire scam. He received a multi-year state sentence plus federal time for impersonation-linked fraud. The court cited the intimidation element as aggravating. Voss fought longer. His defense tried to frame it as misunderstanding, private security cosplay, anything that didn't sound like organized theft. But the timeline crushed him. The prosecutor didn't sell a story. They sold a sequence of documented actions. Voss was convicted. His company was dissolved. Assets were seized. Restitution was ordered. Madison's insurance covered part of the immediate loss, rental costs, security upgrades, legal fees, while restitution and seized assets covered the remainder. The final compensation package wasn't cinematic. It was administrative. But it was real. A check, a court order, and a written closure that forced the world to admit what happened to her did happen. Madison changed how she lived after that, not dramatically. Operationally, she hired vetted security, she stopped using valets, she tightened information flow, she trained her staff on social engineering. She rebuilt the perimeter with lessons written in evidence. And the part nobody talks about, she didn't become paranoid, she became structured. Because the case taught her something simple and brutal: the criminals didn't win by force. They won briefly by authority, theater, and information. Then they lost the same way, because procedure, evidence, and pressure finally outlasted speed. If you made it to the end, drop a like and subscribe. I'm posting more cases like this, and the next one is even crazier. Now I want your take. If 2 federal agents demanded your car on the spot, what would you do in that moment? Would you comply, stall, record, call 911, or something else?